Welcome to A Taste of AZ podcast, where we interview everyone from James Beard award-winning chefs to restaurants, breweries, bars, and more. We've got an awesome episode lined up for you today, but before we get into that, head over to atasteofaz.com and subscribe to our quarterly magazine and our email newsletter so you can find out about all the best spots to eat and drink. Follow us on social media at A Taste of AZ. Now let's get into today's episode.
Well, Basil, thanks for joining the podcast. I can speak for my business partner, Luke, when I say we're both huge fans of Pita Jungle. So this is an honor to be having you on the podcast.
Well, I'm honored to be on it. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So we already have a nice spread in front of us, just tempting us, really, pretty much, right? Because it's at least out of my reach. I don't know if you have like long arms, but we just have to look at it for a little bit.
We have telescopic tools, we can bring something out.
There we go.
Make things.
Nice. So we are here. I didn't even realize, and it makes sense, right? A company like Pita Jungle that has so many locations and such a presence in Arizona that you would have corporate offices, right? I think people don't think about that sometimes. It's like, no, you do everything in the restaurant. Well, yeah, but you need this as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, our first corporate office was probably circa 2004 or 5.
Okay.
It's like when we opened Mesa, it was our fourth store.
Okay.
And it was a freestanding building.
Yeah.
It had a big back office area, and it became our corporate store.
Okay.
Our corporate office.
Yeah.
Within the four walls of a restaurant of our fourth location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like this better? Do you like being able to separate?
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It was very basic, that we could huddle around the round table and talk things out. But over here, I mean, we have tools, we have conference room, we have
dogs,
right?
Yeah. This is great. So, so where are you from originally?
My parents are Lebanese. I grew up, my childhood mostly in Lebanon. I was born in France, and at age 5, we moved back to Lebanon.
Gotcha.
And I toggled between the two countries growing up as the events, unfolded in this country.
Yeah.
So French-born, Lebanese descent.
Okay.
Mostly American, really. I've been here since my late teens. Went to college here.
In Arizona?
Arizona 19. I started in Texas, and then moved here.
Gotcha. What brought you to Arizona?
I always wanted to be where the Cowboys were.
Yeah.
I grew up in the 70s, watching spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
And deserts, horses.
Yeah.
That was something super exotic for me. I would, the big cities on the East Coast, it wasn't for me.
Okay. Yeah.
But the West.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting you say that, because I grew up in Ohio. I moved out here when I was 28. And me and my business partner, Luke, we just took a trip up to Cottonwood. We did some coverage up there of some, I don't know if you know about like the haunted group, like the haunted hamburger group.
Yes.
Them, and then we did some stuff with Merkin. So it was really cool to experience Cottonwood in that aspect. But we were talking about, he's from Utah and I'm from Ohio. And he's like, do you feel at home in Arizona? I'm like, I do. I feel like there's something that is different here. It's rugged. It's got like culture. There's so much to it here. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful state. We got like the Sonoran Desert has got to be the prettiest desert on earth.
Right.
It's got 2 rainy seasons, so it's not really a desert. And we have unique plants. I mean, as you drive out to California or New Mexico and you go towards the Chihuahua Desert or the Mojave Desert, I mean, they're nice, but nothing to do with our blossoms here. Just the saguaro, it only exists here.
Yeah. And you go from the valley to like Flagstaff, and the range that you see of like diversity. I think I read somewhere, heard somewhere, maybe I just made it up at some point, but they say that like there's that from Phoenix to Flagstaff is one of the most like biodiverse regions like in the country. Because
I totally believe that. You go from desert to chaparral areas where you have you get into juniper and oak, and then you get into the evergreens, the firs and the pine.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you moved here, did you have a path in food at that point? Or was that the path that you wanted to go down?
Oh no, not at
No?
all.
Okay.
I mean, I've always loved food. I come
Sure.
from my mom's side of the family. They're like all super foodies.
Okay.
And by that I mean, not only can they all like craft and cook wonderful family meals. And when I say family meals, I mean you're talking about Thanksgiving caliber meals.
Yeah.
Every other Sunday or
Yeah.
so. You know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
everyone comes to the grandparents' house and everyone bring their skill set and start doing stuff. From
Yeah.
apps to desserts to main courses and all that. And then on top of those skills, everyone becomes a food critic at a very tender age. Everyone's weighing in on this and that. I mean,
Yeah.
they loved food.
Yeah.
So-
Was that the Lebanese side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
One of my good friends, actually, his fiance is she's Lebanese. She owns her dad actually started Aladdin's in Youngstown, Ohio. So I tell people, I'm like, his name was Camille Shimon, right? And so people are like, people know who Camille Shimon is.
That's a president.
Yeah. Well, that's where I always got mixed up because it was this. They shared the name, but that I don't think it was a relation to all of the Shimons that were the presidents
The
and
politicians.
politicians. Yeah. But Camille Shimon in Youngstown, Ohio, from what I understand, I think he brought like the Little Caesars franchise to Youngstown, northeastern Ohio, and then I think it was him and his brother launched Aladdin's, and now there's multiple Aladdin locations. And his daughter, who's engaged to my friend, she started opening up a juice spot. There's another spot that she's opening. She runs the Pittsburgh. So they came out maybe a year ago, and she's like, "I want to make you a Lebanese breakfast." And she knows how much I love food, and it was a spread. Like it was so good. Like
Did she make the fava beans and,
Yep.
and the yogurt, the fat
Yep.
with pita chips? And
I have pictures. I don't remember what it was. A blur for me because it was so amazing.
it's kind of tapas style, mezze style,
Yeah.
Lebanese breakfast. You get the spread. You have the greens chasers, like cucumbers, mint, tomatoes. You have the labneh, the strained yogurt.
Yeah.
They put little eggs here. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Super healthy too, really. I mean,
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something. It's that. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna pause this a second. That thing keeps coming down. For
Yeah,
some
it's coming
reason.
down. Here, maybe it needs to be right there. Look. No.
Yeah, that is supposed to be what it is. But here's what I'm gonna do instead. When there's a little bit of weight on it, there we go.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
That'll be better.
Cut down that leverage. Yeah.
Yep.
Lever arm.
Yeah. This is new equipment for me, so I'm still figuring out. But I think
No worries.
now we should be good.
Okay. Yeah.
And even though it does sound like my volume sounds a little bit higher, but when we edit this, we'll
You'll adjust the level. Okay.
okay, we're good. Okay, so a little technical adjustment there, but okay, so same for me. My grandmother, she owned a restaurant in our small town in Ohio, but Sundays at her house, her and my aunts and my cousins it was food. Everybody, It was all about food, and it was loud, and it was food everywhere, and it was delicious. So, yeah.
I mean, even sourcing the food. I remember my grandpa going to specific areas. Like he would get his turnip pickles from specifically this guy out there because he made them, and he had special way of doing, and that tasted different than anyone else. The meat, the veggies, everything. You went to the right place to get the stuff.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of pride too in the sourcing of stuff.
For sure.
And then as you put it together, of course. Yeah.
Then it's amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once again, too, I was talking to Erica from Mac Media PR. Shout out to Erica and Mac Media. I was setting this up, but I was, what we like to do with A Taste of AZ is obviously we like the food, right? But it's the people, it's the stories behind it that I think really give it that character and that personality. I mean, I'm all down for just grabbing a slice of pizza from somewhere. I don't really care. I know it's not the healthiest thing, whatever. But most of the time, I'm like, I like the story behind it, and there's so much to it. So it's probably from the backgrounds that we come from of that. Just you get such a good feeling from when food is part of the thing.
Oh yeah.
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 So so you come to Arizona. Food wasn't in the path.
No,
Or-
I mean, I came out here to go to college.
Okay.
And when you come from overseas, usually your parents, I mean, you go for heavy duty majors.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was in engineering.
Meaning, like, your parents are expecting you to do something like.
Well, yeah, I mean, something. I mean, the U.S. is a super high tech country, so that's a successful career path. You know what I mean, and it's worth the investment. It's
Sure.
You know what I mean. It's like, if you just wanted to do liberal arts and stuff, I mean, the the return on investment is not always there. It could.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, you could hit the ball out of the park. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of friends that did that, but from the perspective of having a stable, step by step, going from here to there, and finding a job when you finish, and moving up in life.
Yeah.
Engineering has always been like engineering, medicine, or law.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the big ones, right?
You get into one of these, and then you do your due diligence, and if you studious and you're lucky enough, you have a high chance of getting from A to B, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but like most people that go to college, you get entangled in hospitality.
Yeah.
So all the three partners, I mean, we worked throughout college.
Okay.
We worked in restaurants, in hotels. I worked like as a French translator in a hotel. There was a group of French people that would come twice a year and do trade shows and learn skills from here in construction and bring them back.
Ah, interesting.
They were fascinated by the track, the streamlining of, how out of nowhere within 6 months you would get the whole master planned community
Sure.
out here.
Yeah.
And it's because it happens all at the same time, the technology, the construction materials,
Yeah.
And back in the old world, I mean, it's more complicated. It's cement and block and all that stuff. And
it's been established, right? Like for thousands of years. Like it's not just an open canvas.
So these people would come, and I was in a hotel translating, hanging out in the PBX room, like in the wee hours of the night, if someone needs something.
Yeah. Yeah.
They need some,
you were the call guy? Like you're the one that called? Yeah.
but also worked in restaurants and all that stuff. And then, I did my graduate work too over here at ASU.
Okay.
And the last 3 years, I was working in a Lebanese restaurant. And I was fascinated about people would come and ask for specific vegetarian options or healthier option.
Yeah.
And at the same time, back then, there used to be the Gentle Strength Co-op.
Okay.
It's a supermarket, a co-op kind of bottle grocery store / restaurant that used to be on Mill and University over there.
Okay.
And it's a place where people bought like sprout and tofu sandwiches and there was alternate culture, like body, mind, soul, all that gong therapy, all these kind of things. You know what I mean? That. But what raised our eyebrows is you would go there and you would see, mainstream America, soccer moms going out there and getting into this. So I mean, that was early in the 90s and coming out of the 80s, and you feel there was a pivot there.
Okay.
So people wanted something else after the excesses of the 80s. And
right. Yeah, on all fronts, for sure. So you saw that opportunity.
And we're like, okay, maybe we should open a grocery store with a deli in it, healthy.
Yeah.
And then it morphed to Pita Jungle. We decided finally, no, let's just do a Mediterranean influenced restaurant.
Yeah.
That offers global cuisine that's interpreted through what we like, the Mediterranean filter.
Gotcha.
Olive oil.
Yeah.
Healthy proteins, lean, nuts, fruit, vegetables, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we designed the menu so that people could go and get like a super balanced meal at fast food prices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was
Yeah.
so we sought for it. Like we used the engineering method. We're all engineers.
Oh, okay. All three of you were engineers. Okay.
Two out of three.
Sure. Okay.
We're
Yep.
like, okay, what are we solving here? We put parameters, and we're like, okay, we want this, we want that, and we built that thing.
Yeah.
And we opened, just the three of us, Nelly, Fuad, and myself. We had 0 employees, second generation building.
Yeah.
That we rented from Mr. Pasternak, very kind gentleman. That he was amused by us, like when we negotiated with him. Like it used to be a pizza restaurant that shut down. We looked at it. We went to him like, hey, we're negotiating. He's like a seasoned businessman, architect as well, developer, and he gave it to us. He gave us a good deal.
Yeah. Were you guys intimidated? Were you like?
I mean, we were young and cocky and confident.
Sure. Yeah.
In college, we thought we knew everything.
For
we knew
sure.
nothing. We knew nothing.
That can be a benefit at times, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he thought we were funny because we're so ignorant and naive.
Yeah. You're like, okay. He's like, all right. Okay.
Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
Have an empty space. So we got in there. We took it as is. It had the structure of a restaurant.
Okay.
But it was like it was bad. It was destroyed a little bit.
Okay.
With the help of a handyman, Yusuf, we put it back together.
Nice.
And we opened, and people came. Our first day, I think we sold $300.
Okay.
And we were like so excited about it because we had no employees. And we were doing the math like we all lived together. We're all college roommates, right?
Yeah.
So 300 times 30 days, that's $9,000. Shoot, we can cover rent and utilities. We're good.
Yeah.
And we're
Just like that, right? Like
Yeah.
you put the engineering thing,
Yeah.
right? This happens, and this
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
And we had the notion that let's get it from here to there, and in 3 years, we sell and go back to our respective fields.
Oh, okay.
That we did have an exit plan.
Okay. So this was just kind of like this pay the bills and kind
Well,
of.
it was an opportunity, right? We saw that there was something
Sure.
happening, and we're like, maybe we can, do something, get it from here to there, and maybe bigger fish would come and
Yeah.
kind of that know how to grow things.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Take it and do something with it, and they did come eventually, but by then we were so bit by the bug. Like for me, I would. I did internships between my undergrad and my graduate work in engineering companies. And while the intellectual stuff is nice, but the dynamics and all that, I mean, I felt that there were a lot of, at least in the environment I was in, unhappy people.
Uh-huh.
And here I was in a restaurant where every day was different. Every customer was different.
Yeah.
The food, could be here, could be there, depending upon how much care you put in it. So you always have that challenge to like work yourself to the limit and
Sure.
and make the best you can and train your people to be the best they could be and filter for these people. Get surround yourself with that caliber.
Yeah.
So it's like its own microcosm. The whole restaurant, like that first one that we lived it. We used to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
We were there like from 5 a.m. till 1 in the morning.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. For sure.
But there were 3 of us, so we could take days off here and there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I mean, the first 2-3 years, it was like that. It was brutal when I think about it. But I was never happier in my life.
Sure. Yeah. When you were young, you had energy, right? Like, I'm 44 at this point. And I'm like, I don't think I couldn't do that now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
25, 28, like I could have done it up to then, maybe. That's what
Yeah.
I say. That's my own cockiness of thinking.
No, you're young, you're tired, but you're happy,
Yeah.
And you don't have a lot of money, but who cares?
Yeah. Well, if you're enjoying what you're doing,
Yeah,
right, it's
yeah.
almost like your time off. Like I would just think that like your time off is also kind of related to the work as well, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot of people I talk to in the industry are like on their days off, they want to go find other places to. It's not like they want to completely disconnect. They want to get away from their spot and
Yeah.
their responsibilities, but it's still that food and beverage culture.
Yeah, you have that. I mean, for me back then, like in the early to mid 90s, like snowboard was my biggest thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So my days off would be Monday and Tuesday, because typically these were slower days.
Okay. Yeah.
And I would be up the hill,
Up in Flagstaff, go to Flagstaff.
Flagstaff, White Mountain, and
Yeah.
sometimes we'd get a good deal out of state, California or Colorado.
Yeah. Well, so let me back up a second here. The first location, where is that? Do you still have that spot?
The first location, unfortunately, we don't have it, and it's like it has huge sentimental value to me, and we just moved. It was in Tempe on Dorsey Lane and Apache.
Okay.
Between Rural and McClintock.
Okay.
So it was super vibrant spot. I mean, I think it won several awards at that spot for the diversity of the businesses that were in it. There was a Persian kebab, there was a Pita Jungle, there was a karate, there was a skateboard shop, there was an Irish bar, there was an abortion clinic, there was there was a laundromat, there was a tattoo shop, there was stinkweeds.
Is that a record stinkweeds
record
store? Yeah.
Kimber Laning, she's got modified art as well. She's big in the local first movement here.
Okay.
And she's everywhere today. But back then that was her first store. She used to be a musician in local indie band here.
Okay.
And some of her bandmates worked for us too. So I mean, the early days, we were surrounded by like art, music, things,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It was that Wild West you were looking for, right? In a way.
It was scalable Wild West. You look from a plane or you look under a microscope and you found it here.
Yeah. Well, what about the name? Like, how did you guys come up with Pita Jungle?
Well, we decided we wanted pita.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, and in hindsight, maybe it was a mistake. Because nowadays, like when we gave it a spin in California, we opened a Pita Jungle there. People think, if they don't know you, that you're like a little deli shop selling pitas.
Okay.
So pockets,
gotcha.
With like deli meats or gyro or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're a sandwich shop. When in fact, our menu, we have seafood, we have wood-fired oven, we do flatbreads, we do sauté dishes, we sell wine, beer, liquor, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So if someone that doesn't know you hears Pita Jungle, they don't get the impression that they're going to a place that serves those kind of things.
Sure. Okay.
But we wanted pita because we felt that it's an end thing, or it was going to be. There was no pita restaurants. That was before all the big chains came with,
after Pita Jungle paved the path.
I don't know if we paved. I think. I mean, things happened at the same time everywhere a little bit in the early '90s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we were the first ones here to do that, I believe.
Okay.
There was no one.
Yeah.
So pita, okay, and we would have countless nights where we're sitting and we have like a whole dictionary of words. Pita this, pita that, pita expletive, pita.
Yeah. Something pita. Yeah.
And then we like, two of the partners, we went to Florida and there was jungles and whatever. And we're like, what if we play a metaphor, like Pita Jungle, is anything goes, you know? You're in that jungle and there's everything in it. There's alligators and there's bugs and there's swamps and there's whatever, flowers.
It's rugged, right? It's rugged, right?
So we're like, okay, let's make it a Pita Jungle. It's absurd, but that's, and we want it to be edgy and artsy and this and that,
Yeah.
And then we came back here, and when we talked to Mr. Pasternak, who leased us the spot, he's like, oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
And then we changed our mind. We decided to call it Pita Terra, Terra, like Earth.
Yeah.
Like, but no one knew what Terra was, and then when we changed the paperwork to sign the lease, the landlord said, what is this Pita Terra stuff? What is this?
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Shut it down right there. Yeah.
Pita Jungle is much better. And he did the quick survey in his office. Is like, and everyone's like, yeah, what the heck? Pita Terra, are you a science show? Or what are you doing? Terra X, Terra Incognita. So we went back to Pita Jungle.
Yeah.
But our first two invoices from, I think it was Shamrock back then, or US. was before US Food Alliance.
Okay.
Or it was built to Pita Terra, and then we changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Pita Jungle better
Yeah,
too. So
yeah, yeah,
I
I'm
think it
glad
was a
we did
good move.
Yeah.
So you guys had the first place opened in Tempe,
Yes.
right? You guys caught the bug. You're like, all right, this is.
Yeah, 3 years after we opened, we're like, okay, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
We're exhilarated by this, one plates during a rush of flying, and people are running around dishing.
The energy,
the kitchen, the energy,
yeah,
the music, that place in Tempe was well lit. Daylight in it. You always felt like it's nice, positive. Yeah, it's good.
like the jungle,
Like the jungle,
yeah. So where how do you start expanding from there, right? Like, because I would think you see brands that start and it just getting off the ground can be a challenge sometimes, but then you'll see they'll open a few places within a few years, right? It's almost like you kind of get the process and then you're able to. I would think, especially with engineers, you guys are pretty good at documenting.
Yeah, we expanded. I mean, if you think about it, we've been around for 30 years.
Okay. Yeah.
And we have 24 locations. So I mean, okay, it's good.
Yeah.
But it's not like amazing. I mean, some companies, but by now would have 1,600 across the world, right?
Yeah. But I mean,
but our model. I mean, we kind of, that whole notion of how you finance stuff, how you get money. We were not very sophisticated at that.
Okay.
We knew we didn't like that.
Yeah.
We knew that we get something from here to there, and when it's cash flowing positively, we take this, we save it, then we do a second one.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, that's more effective but more dangerous ways of approaching things.
Sure.
But that's why we never had to shut the store. We would stick to it even if it was losing money in the first year or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But we were sweat equity in it.
Yeah.
We do that. We don't shut down. Our second location in Chandler on Dobson and Ray.
Okay.
We signed the lease in 97. That was 2 to 3 years before the 101 was open.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And before the Chandler Mall was open, the regional mall there. So everyone knew that something was coming. The technology companies were opening on Ray and Chandler Boulevard, between the I-10 and the 101, the future 101. Everyone knew the mall was coming. The rooftops were starting to pop, South Chandler.
Okay.
But we were there early. And it was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 97 till 2000. One day we stepped up to the door and there was a chain and a lock on it because we didn't pay rent for 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
And we had to come up with a balance, or that's it.
Rough because of all of the stuff that was, what else was there?
Because the market was underdeveloped.
Okay.
It wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
It was before the highway, before the mall, before all the rooftops.
So you were too forward thinking, like you got too ahead of the curve. Yeah.
We liked the location a lot. It was on a lake, on a pond.
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
Anderson Springs.
Yeah.
I mean, on paper it looks great, except we didn't have enough dry powder to burn.
Yeah, right.
So everything we made in Tempe, we pumped it there, and we were able. That's how we sustained it. I mean, any business person would have shut it down. Like, you're losing. Why are you keeping a dog?
Yeah.
Shut it. Go do something else.
Yeah.
That's how people think, right?
Yeah.
But we get attached emotionally to things, and we're like, no, we're not letting go. That's it. It's our second door. We got the first one made it. This one will make it too. Let's wait it out.
I like that.
And then by 2001, it took off. And today it's one of our best stores.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you just kind of ride out the storm sometimes. And I'm sure you guys had plans. Like you obviously you don't plan to get a chain on your door, right? But you are prepared for you're in it for the long haul, right?
Yeah.
I like that because this is an industry that I think any entrepreneurship, but I think food and beverage specifically is you're going to get your ass kicked, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Are you ready for it? Are you willing to take some punches and,
Yeah, I mean, it's very brutal business.
Yeah.
But it's very simple as well. I mean, people eat on the average 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So as long as there are people, there's a market for you.
For sure.
So if your product is priced well, if it's abundant,
Yeah.
good quantities, and if it's of good quality as well.
Yeah.
If those three things are, and if on top of that you can dish out an experience within the four walls,
Yeah.
with art, music, cool staff, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so these are the things you gotta tweak for, I feel.
Sure. Yeah, that's all part of the culture,
Yeah.
though, right? That's all. So how do you create very good, very well sourced food at a cost of fast food, like you said, right? Like at that reduced cost or a reasonable cost.
You learn to live with skinny margins and high volume.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So that
You make pennies on the dollars, not. You know. Yeah.
Okay. That's simple. It's
Yeah.
very simple, right?
Yeah.
Not
I
easy,
mean,
but simple.
and when we first opened, I mean, our prices were like way better than they are today. Obviously, inflation and, after 30 years,
Yeah.
what used to be $4 back then is probably $8 today and whatever. But still, if you do the future value of money back from 30 years into today,
Yeah.
I think you would find that our old menu was probably cheaper than what our new menu is today.
Okay.
And it's because we had only one store. And when you have everyone in one store giving it all their attention, you have less waste.
Sure.
You run it.
Yeah.
When you grow, I mean, there's a little bit of you lose some of these things. Obviously, you have good people, you train, you do all these things, but it's harder to run multiple units versus.
Sure, I could imagine. Yeah. Let alone what you said, 24.
Yeah.
Like how do you and that's what really intrigues me is, starting this entrepreneurship journey a few years ago. I don't know. You just kind of, I thought of, expanding it. Right. I don't know. Starting with something, really focusing in on that. And then, I don't know where I'm going with this. It's the entrepreneur journey is very complicated, right? And it's you would think, okay, I got this down, now I can start to do this. But then the second thing, brings problems and issues that you never even expected, right? So it's maybe it's that arrogance once again of me saying, all right, I did this, I should be able to do this. Then I start doing this. I'm like, I have no idea how to do this, right? Even though you think you can. But so just the three of you? Was it just the three of you throughout this?
Yeah, and it's still the three of us, except now, back in, what year was it? 2006 or 7.
Yeah.
We started franchising, and really the franchise need came from some of our employees who had seniority with us. We had employees who joined us when they were 18 and who worked through every position in the restaurant to finally become general managers. And by then we had more than one store. We had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then the GM, you cap out somewhere, and then you want to see some blue sky.
Sure.
So we're like, well, maybe you should have your own store. Like, oh, okay. Sounds
Yeah.
like a good idea.
Yeah.
And this is how we start franchising. And I think that's a very, very good model. If you can, you grow your own employees into the franchise system, because then they have your DNA. They know the company culture. They know the restaurant. They know the food. They worked every position in the restaurant, from front of the house, back of the house, kitchen, blah, blah, blah.
You know them. You know them personally. Yeah.
These are people that you rubbed elbows in the trenches with them.
Yeah.
Thick or thin.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff.
That is interesting, right? Because you want your employees to grow, but also you don't want your employees to outgrow you necessarily, right? If you have a really great employee, you want the best for them, but you also don't want to lose them. I don't want to. So if you create that sort of system, that's very smart. Yeah.
Because I mean, we're not a high-end restaurant where a GM would make, some of these GMs in these high-end restaurants, earn CPA.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Level income, right?
Yeah.
In a Pita Jungle, no. I mean, it's very decent, you know. But you get to a point where okay, maybe you have aspirations and ambitions. So we found that having this outlet, this option, and these are very good franchisees too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? How do you even go about? Like, did you talk with people who are into franchising just to kind of learn how that experience goes, or did you just figure it out?
Well, yeah. When we hired someone who came from the franchise world.
Okay.
That's the thing too. I mean, we're not. We don't reinvent the wheel. Like sometimes it pays to surround yourself with the right people.
Sure. Yeah.
So we hired a gentleman who used to be director of franchise in a major chain, U.S. chain that's across multiple states.
Okay.
Restaurants, franchise business. We got him on board, and basically we gave him the lead, to go out there and let's do what we need to do to do that, to dabble with that.
Yeah.
So he knew all the steps.
That helps.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
Just, let's do this, let's do that. Obviously, we had to hire a legal team that does that.
Sure. Yeah.
To produce all the documents, all the structural, documentation that you can. And then we got trained how to handle yourself when you deal with these things, because it's a super, there's a lot of litigation in those things.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's great to not have that all on your shoulders, right? Like you bring in the right people to handle those things. I think that's a key to a successful business owner and entrepreneur as well, is like knowing that you don't know everything, right? And some of the stuff you leave up to the people that know what the heck they're doing.
At that point for me, my engagement with the restaurants, was the patrons, the customers, and the food, and my employees, and that triangle of dynamics that between these, and keeping a vibe and energy in the restaurant. After hours at best, I would, do payroll or books or whatever, and then hand what I have to a qualified accountant. But like the early years. But today, unfortunately, I find myself less in the restaurants and more in a corporate office.
Okay.
And frankly, I miss the old days.
I was gonna say, do you miss the restaurant? Yeah.
And I still go there. I still work with my partner. We still are in the kitchen developing our specials, our updates. Otherwise,
Yeah, I couldn't walk away from that completely either. Yeah, and there's just something about like a kitchen in a restaurant that's just like my eyes light up. I'm like, I would love to have a flat top this big at home, or I wish I had a deep fryer at home. But so kind of run through some of the things. Like, what are some of your favorite things on the Pita Jungle menu? Because for me, I guess maybe I'll make it easy.
Yeah.
My favorite is the Philly steak pita. My wife and daughters always get the roasted red pepper hummus with the chicken on it. Lavash pizzas. The garlic new potatoes, those are always, we always get a side of those. And the pita chips, my wife she's like, get 6 orders of the pita chips. Yeah. She loves the pita chips. But there are always things that I want to try, but I always go back to that Philly steak pita. Like, that thing is just so good, especially with the sriracha, which I think is cool now that you guys have your own lines of sriracha. Those are my favorites. So for you, like, what are some of the top ones that you love out of the menu?
For me, like, one of the best things that I like is when I'm in one of those kitchens and we're making a fresh batch of hummus.
Okay. Yeah.
And the minute it comes out of the mixer, you lay it on a plate, you drizzle olive oil on it. Yeah. And you dip those pita chips in it.
Okay.
It's so good.
Yeah.
When it's, there's something magical about it when it's fresh and it comes out. I love the lentil fattoush salad.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like chopped salad, cold on the bottom, with like a mix of lentil and brown rice on top, caramelized onions, mint. The Philly, both the chicken and the beef, I love both of these.
Yeah. Okay.
These are. How can you?
Yeah.
But these we do the meats on the flat top, then we build the sandwich together, and then we finish it up in the wood fire oven.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah.
And that's where the cheese melt and everything like integrates together. The caramelized onions, the peppers.
Yeah.
So good.
And obviously drinks. You guys have a great drink selection. Is this your own line of wines?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been. It's called Dunnigan Hill. It's out there somewhere in California. It's not.
Okay.
It's not Napa or Sonoma or Alexander Valley, but it's a very, very nice area.
Nice.
That produce super decent juice.
Yeah.
And the wine, I mean, I think we sell them for about $15-17 a bottle, and
Nice.
It's not far off from what we buy it for, really. We don't mark it up. I mean, we could triple that, and but
Sure.
the notion is we want to provide the experience that if you want to come and drink a glass and take the bottle home with you,
Yeah.
that's fine, and you don't have to break the bank.
Yeah.
It's the same philosophy that put us on the map, way back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it, right? Because I mean, for my wife and I, like, we love, like, our daughters are, they're 9 and 11, so they're not going to eat at some places, right? And so you buy this, and your meal's this expensive, right? Once again, Pita Jungle is just a great option because, first of all, they like the food, right? Which they could be picky about other places, but you don't break the bank, right? We could go, a family of 4 can go and have a good lunch, a good dinner, and so that's cool that now you're providing, and people just having the logo on it itself is you just feel more connected with the brand or the restaurant you're at. When it's like, oh, you get your own wine? Heck yeah.
And I mean, and it's super drinkable. I mean, people might think that, what is this Jungle Vino, whatever,
Yeah.
No, it's legit. It's made by a legitimate winemaker, good grapes. I mean, I drink it at home, unless if there's a special occasion.
Sure.
That's my these are my go-to wines.
Yeah. Nice. I could see you probably just got walls filled with these at home, right?
I wish.
It might be a bad thing,
right?
All that
exactly.
temptation. But also, so I live up by the Norterra location.
Yes.
So I pop in there quite often. Usually we order food to eat at home. I'll go in and pick it up, and then obviously, I have to have a beer while I'm there. And I'm a beer guy. I love beer, and the local beers that you guys have on draft, like the craft that is available at Pita Jungle too, just always impresses me. It could be a place that, if I'm in a neighborhood somewhere and there's a Pita Jungle, I'm like, I'm going to go in there and have a beer. It wouldn't be a place that you would think that, I'm going to go to Pita Jungle to have a beer. I do, because I know you guys have a great selection. So I think that's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. When we had the Pita Jungle one, what's the name of that local brewery? The one on 8th Street in Tempe?
Four Peaks.
Four Peaks, yes.
Yep.
So see, I'm blanking.
Yeah, that's right.
So they were on 8th Street, and they opened like a year or two after we opened our Tempe location.
Yeah.
And so we would go after work sometimes, drive by there, hang out, have a pint or whatever. And then we carried their beers long time ago, in those small things, systems. We didn't have big kegs, and we dabbled with it. And, and then they got bought and they became...
Yeah, they're a controversial one now.
But the notion... No, it's a great product. I mean, but the notion of being in bed with the local brewers, we adopted that very early on.
Yeah.
And today, I mean, some stores don't have the same... We have the same basic list, but some stores that are more beer-centric, that we develop a more intricate menu for them.
Okay, yeah.
But it depends on where you're at in the valley and the market and what the customers want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do got to think about what the customer wants, right?
Yeah.
I heard that recently. There was a quote. Someone was like, okay, it was once again in breweries. Someone had a quote. It's like, all right, breweries are for your customers, not necessarily for just what you like, right? Because you go into some breweries and they just have like, all right, we just have IPAs and sours.
Yeah.
Right? And the customer's like, well, I want a stout or a red or something,
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my little tangent.
Totally. That's why my wife doesn't like most breweries, because like everything is like over the top.
Yeah, for sure. I think that breweries are really kind of the ones that are. Beer is an interesting one because there was such an explosion of craft beer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it just year after year it was growing and growing, and then the last few years it started shrinking again, right? So I think 4 years ago, you could have opened a brewery in any neighborhood and just said, hey, I'm a brewery, and people are going to come, right? So they could kind of, in a way, do whatever they wanted. Now it's kind of reversing, where it's like, hey, man, like it's not just open the doors and people are coming in. You got to have something, and you got to have something for everybody, right? You got to have something that's malty, something a little fruity, something hoppy, something, you know.
Light.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming more Darwinian, you know.
Yeah, right.
you gotta, there's some selection there. Yeah.
Yep. So, before we wrap this up, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for making the time to get on the show.
It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, and anytime. Yeah.
So, before we wrap it up, what's the future of Pita Jungle look like?
We're gonna keep swinging excellent food, freshly made every day from scratch.
Yeah.
Using freshest ingredient we find.
Okay.
And that's what we do.
Nice. I love it. And locations, did you say you do have locations in California now?
We dabbled with 3 locations.
Okay.
There were franchise locations in California.
Yeah.
They were very successful stores. Nevertheless, the business environment was not conducive. I mean, in terms of top line sales.
Yeah.
They were performing as good as our stores here, you
Okay.
know, or comparable,
Yeah.
you know, for new stores. But it was just hard, you know, to do business, to conduct business there.
Because it was so
our
far away,
franchisees.
or was it just the cost of things?
The cost of things, you know, the occupancy cost, everything is harder, you know,
Sure.
building, construction, licensing.
Okay.
And then once you open, I mean, the rules are different. It's
Okay.
more costly to operate.
Sure. Yeah.
You
So
know?
while you might be bringing in the same amount as what's here, you're putting out more than you would be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And these stores could have been, I mean, in Arizona back then, you know, you can get 3,000, 4,000 square feet, and your occupancy cost is at that level.
Okay.
And if that's your footprint, and you go to California and you get the same footprint, I mean, it becomes exorbitant, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So they folded softly. There was no crash, really.
Yeah.
We tried to take over these stores, actually, us, and we went there, and they were viable, you know, we were gonna keep them.
Yeah.
But we were green back then, and some of those leases, you know, were signed when the economy was bad there, and then by the time we came, real estate experienced a boom over there, and the landlords were reluctant to assign the lease to us, and the assignment clause on those leases was not ideal.
Okay.
So I mean, you know, there were some mistakes.
I would say there's a few, but you tried it out, right? You dipped your toes in the water.
Of course, we went there. We spent months.
Yeah.
We were not gonna leave them behind, but that's
So all locations now are in Arizona, all
of them.
Okay, and is that the plan? Is to keep expanding within Arizona, or
I mean, Arizona is growing, so we have organic growth here. I mean, we have one in Flagstaff, one in Tucson.
Yep. Okay.
The rest of them are here in Phoenix Metro.
Yeah.
And the east side, I think we're well represented.
Yeah.
East Valley, most of our stores. West of Central, we got 2 stores. You know, one in Arrowhead and one in Park West out in Peoria.
Oh yeah.
So there's a huge opportunity on the west side. I mean,
huge, right? Yeah. Yep. My friend Marshall, who owns Simple Machine Brewery, they just opened up a brewery downtown Glendale, and apparently there's some really cool stuff going on in downtown Glendale. So I'm not. You guys expand wherever you want because you already have a location in my neighborhood. Otherwise, I would be pushing you to put one in my neighborhood. So I'm covered. But no, there's lots of opportunity on the west side, and that's great. I love hearing that. It's you know, as I learn about different businesses and different states, and even counties, right? Even, you know, one county might make it super easy for a place to open. Another county might make it really difficult, right? And then when you get out of state and you have different laws, and especially when it comes to like alcohol, it's like, oh, you can sell beer here, but you can't drink it within 3 miles. It's like, what? So no, I'm excited to see what Pita Jungle keeps bringing to the table, and keep up the great work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And once again, shout out to Erica at Mac Media. You say hi, just a loud hello so they can hear you. There she is. Thank you for setting this up. So, all right. Well, thanks once again, and I'm going to let you get to the rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thank you.